Well, good afternoon. Any questions? When I decided to run for mayor, there are a lot of reasons that go into the whole process, but one that really came to the top of the surface is that we have not had continuity of leadership in our city for quite some time, both in the political side of things as well as in the business side of things. Now, if you look at other cities that have had a lot of success over the last several decades, you can look at cities like Austin, Texas, Albuquerque, New Mexico, certainly Oklahoma City, San Antonio, Texas, Indianapolis, Louisville, Charlotte, big list. Most of those cities, say 30, 40 years ago, were smaller than Tulsa. Today, all of those cities are significantly larger than Tulsa. And Tulsa stayed roughly about the same, maybe a little bit bigger, but not much. So we haven't participated with the economic expansion of our country. And one common thread that they all have is that most of them have had, if not all of them have had, a continuity of continuous leadership that provides vision and opportunity for growth, economic prosperity, positive reaction to the needs of the city, recognizing what the assets of the city are, what they can do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When I was elected mayor almost 4 years ago, I was the fourth mayor to be elected within 10 years. At the same time, Oklahoma City normally will have a mayor for several terms. Mick Cornett is now, I think, in his fourth term. And he is one of not a few, but of several that have had that experience of several consecutive terms of leadership. So in my view, that is a very, very good reason why we adopted the phrase, let's keep a good thing going. Because one thing I do have, it's a very well-documented, verifiable record since I've been mayor of the city of Tulsa. And I must say, it has been an honor to be the mayor of this city. We've accomplished a lot of things, but we focused on the real core needs of our city. I said that I wanted to be the job-gettingest mayor that this city's ever seen when I was running for office 4 years ago. And I wouldn't say that we've totally accomplished that, but we just about have. The economic development and job creation of this city is of paramount importance. We all know that. But if you ever really stop to analyze the significance of a job that is created and what it provides that individual, and most importantly, what it provides that individual's family, for that family's future. And if you can look at an area like 61st and Peoria, or other areas of our city where it is impoverished, crime is a problem, it's been that way for decades, and it doesn't seem to go away. Economic development is the long-term solution to that problem. Can you imagine if those individuals that are, for whatever reasons, don't have a job and are involved with activities that are not very good for the community, certainly not good for their future or their family's future, it's non-existent. Imagine what it would be like if that individual had a job, a good paying job that pays good benefits, that has longevity to it, that provides that person the self-confidence and the capability of providing not just for him or herself, but for his or her family. And if that takes root, if that then becomes an example to that individual's family members, his or her children, and or grandchildren, then they put roots down and they provide for their families. And the cycle is broken and a new cycle begins. That is why that job creation capability and economic development is not just a phrase with me. It's the real deal. Because I know And you all also know what that means to have that job. That's why it's so important. That's why I spent a lot of my State of the City address last summer speaking about workforce development, about the significance of what that job creates, how we focus so much on a 4-year college degree, which is terrific, but we need to also generate an equal amount of focus and sustainability to the idea of learning a trade, of learning to work with one's hands, to be able to be a machinist or a welder or a carpenter or a mechanic, all the things that are in very, very, very hot demand right now in the city of Tulsa and the region around Tulsa. If we can provide that need through training, which we do have a very good capability of doing in Tulsa, but if we provide the training to allow that individual to get that job, we've got a great opportunity. So we are doing everything we can to make certain that happens. But we also focus on public safety. Public safety is one of the core services that we provide our community. When a person walks outside of his or her house, apartment, whatever it might be, and while they've been inside, if the water runs and everything works as far as that goes, they walk outside and they don't not only just feel safe, but they are safe, then we've accomplished another core, not necessarily value, but a core service that we, city government, provide to our citizens, public safety. That they know that they'll be safe, either from criminal activity, they'll be safe from the criminal element, and if something happens to them, that person's going to get caught, or if they have a terrible problem, fire department will be there, IMSA will be there to provide service and get them to a place where they are safe. We provide that service to the community, and we do it in a pretty good way. We do a good job of it. Now, prior to my becoming mayor, we've had the numbers of academies where firefighters and police officers learn their trade. We've had a checkered past of providing that service to those that want to be firefighters and police officers. Since I've been mayor, we're in our 4th academy, police academy, and our 3rd fire academy. That hasn't happened for quite some time, and that's very, very important because we've started a process of meeting the needs of our community to have more boots on the ground, more firefighters available to us. We still haven't hit the minimum manning levels, certainly in our police department, but we're moving in that right direction. We're adding more people than are leaving, that are retiring or for whatever reason leaving. It's going to take a while, but I have submitted a proposal, both publicly as well as to the city council, that we have an opportunity to provide the funding necessary to greatly increase the number of police and fire academies, provide the material that goes along with that, the automobiles and all that sort of thing, the equipment, by simply changing the focus and refocusing on a sales tax that has been identified as the former For to Fix money that is presently going towards supplying funds for our streets. It's a small part of our sales tax revenue that we receive, 0.167% of 1 cent, but it would provide us $12 million annually, and it would provide a significant amount of money that would go towards adding more police officers, firefighters, all the equipment necessary, plus have money left over to provide another important service, which is the maintenance of our city streets. We would be able to add 2 more additional crews, full crews, plus all the equipment, to add to our current 2 crews. We'd have a total of 4, and that would provide us sufficient people to maintain our city streets infrastructure, which we're not capable of doing right now. We do have 2 crews, they do a good job, but they need additional help. We're spending $450 million right now on fixing our streets by a process called the Fix Our Streets project we had about 4 or 5 years ago that I co-chaired. It was well overdue, long overdue, because we had not been maintaining our streets. Now we're beginning a process because of the poor shape they're in. They're having to be rebuilt, refurbished, re-this, re-that. but restored to a position to where they're actually working better. Wouldn't it be a shame if we spend all this money and we still can't maintain our system adequately, and we allow them to prematurely go into disrepair? That is something we do not want to do. In order to accomplish that, I propose to the council, as well as to be able to provide a quicker means of accessing our minimum manning needs, an opportunity to repurpose the 4-to-fix money, provide $12 million a year annually. It would not have a significant impact upon the capital improvement needs of our city. That is well taken up by the temporary 1-cent sales tax and the GO bond issue, both of which will hopefully be voted on this year or soon. And if they're voted positively, they will provide roughly $700+ million to go towards the street projects and whatever else the city council decides they want to do with it, capital improvement wise. But it's a great opportunity. But I have submitted a proposal, an idea, not just saying I want to see this happen, but realistically coming up with a plan. And it does not increase taxes. Will not increase taxes, period. We also have a great track record insofar as our conservative approach to managing our city goes. If you recall, when I took over as mayor, we unfortunately were spending more money than was taken in. We were living beyond our means. When I took over in early December, at the rate we were spending money, we would have been out of cash by April. We wouldn't be able to pay our bills. What do we do? So we had a problem. We decided we had to first fix that problem, find a solution, a very, very quick solution to fix the problem, which we did. We made some very, very, very difficult decisions, but we had to do it. We gave all of our city employees an opportunity to, and we had union contracts we had to deal with, but we gave them an opportunity to make a decision on how they wanted to accomplish that. Most of them went along with our solutions or something similar to it, and that was good news. In one case, they did not, and we had to lay off 125 police officers, unfortunately. Now, since that time, we were able to recover, but we also were able to hire every one of them back at their former salaries, all except one left town. In doing that, in going through that long process, we decided early on we didn't want to do that again. So we had to set in place long-term solutions. That's why we hired the KPMG company to evaluate our city government, to evaluate all of our departments, to see how we could do things more efficiently, set priorities, and do it in such a fashion that made sense. We weren't wasting money. And we also weren't getting involved with things that just didn't matter in the whole scheme of things. If there were things that were not of a high priority, if they did not hit the measure of providing a core service of some type that was really beneficial to the city, then we thought, well, let's look at other ways to accomplish this. So we set out, we were able to get that accomplished, and the KPMG study is in the process of being implemented as we speak. We've identified several very, very big projects. We've made a lot of changes. And we forecasted, we've seen at least $25 million in savings that we will enjoy over about a 5-year period of time. We did things like we changed the way we buy automobiles and trucks. We changed the way that we account for all of these things. We changed the way that we allow police officers to be put out in the field. We hired a new police chief. Chuck Jordan has done an outstanding job. One thing he's accomplished, several things he's accomplished, but one thing is he restored the confidence within our police department amongst themselves, but also the confidence of our city with our police department. That was a big opportunity for us. But he also did things like he changed the way that the police officers are given their responsibilities of policing our city. He changed to what's called a beat system, where we got police officers out working in specific areas to get to know the areas that they're policing, not just going willy-nilly all over town and wasting a lot of time and money and gas driving all over the place. They're given a responsibility of a specific area of Tulsa to get to know it, and they get to know their police officers. So when police officer has been there for 6 months or a year sees something out of sorts, he or she knows there's something needs to be investigated. And that's what we're doing right now. That was not there before I became mayor. It is there now. We've had a lot of success. We've restored a lot of the changes that had to occur, that did occur prior to my becoming mayor. We put our police helicopters back. One of the most important tools that the police department has to provide public safety and oversight are our police helicopters. We put them back in the air. We turned the lights and expressways back on, and as a part of that process, we found out that some areas of Tulsa, the street lights had burned out and had not been replaced. Significant number of them, and those were the areas that the police department identified as being higher crime areas. So we said, let's turn the lights back on in those areas, and we did. Immediately, reported crime in those areas dropped, simply because the lights were turned back on. It gave the criminals a reason to move because they didn't like the light. So that project we did called Lights on Tulsa was very, very successful. And we continue to that today. But we also restored relationships throughout our community. And I'm very, very proud of that. We restored relationships between our city government and our our county government as well. Just didn't have a relationship. It was non-existent. We have a good, positive relationship now with each and every member, elected member of our county government. We share services now, whereas before we were duplicating a lot of services. We work together with one another to save each other money because we're really working for the same taxpayers. So why we have duplicated services? For example, the medical field, we had each of us had clinics. So we said, well, why don't we use one and have employees from both governments go to that one clinic? So we're doing that. Saves money. Very sensible. Easy to do. We also established a better relationship with our area mayors throughout our county. It was non-existent. So the area mayors, area city councilors, but also the area city managers, we now have a very, very, very good relationship, and we approach things in a collaborative way that wasn't happening before for whatever reason. When the American Airlines problem occurred and they announced their bankruptcy, one of the first things we did, we had a very, very public meeting of each and every mayor, city manager, elected representative that was available, mayors of Tulsa, city council. We all got together with one purpose, and that was to make certain that American Airlines did not leave Tulsa. And we accomplished that. And I believe one of the best reasons that was able to occur is because we were united in our effort. That we, the elected officials, and we, the business community, all of our chambers of commerce, we were all in it together. That collaborative effort was very, very successful, and I'm very proud of pointing to that as a good reason why I need to be returned as mayor of this city. We also have a much better relationship with our city council, the Tulsa City Council. It again, as we all know, was a bit noisy from time to time. That has changed. The voters spoke, big change occurred, we get along very well. We now have joint meetings where we decide what we collectively want to collaborate upon and have shared goals and objectives. We've done it twice now. And that's been a very, very good effort because we get to know each other, first of all, but secondly, we have agreement on what is in the best interest of our city and what is in the best interest of that individual's city council district. That we collaboratively go forth and accomplish these on behalf of the city voters and the city citizens. That's why they voted for the city charter initially, was that the mayor's office, the administration, and the city council would work together. And we've been doing that now for a year and a half, almost 2 years. And that's been a very, very good, positive thing that we're all very, very proud of. But because of all these, we've restored confidence in our city government. We restored the integrity of our city government. When Chuck Jordan took over, it was in the process of having a very, very big scandal that we're all very aware of. That's behind us. But we now have integrity in our police department. The confidence, the morale is so much more improved. What we saw on Good Friday, when the 5 people were shot, 3 were killed within a couple hour period of time in a near North Tulsa neighborhood. We all came together. The police department did an outstanding job. But we as a community were united. We had racial harmony. We restored racial harmony in this city as a result of a terrible event. We all came together. We all asked the community for their help, and they gave it to us, without question. Next day, 2 people were arrested and are now awaiting trial. Well, I'm very, very proud of what I've accomplished and what not just me, but what our staff has accomplished in our city government, including our city council. That collaboratively we have recognized the need to work together and to accomplish good things. That's why I'm running for re-election. That's why I appreciate everybody being here with the interest that you have in what your government is doing. I'll be very glad to answer any questions. I'm about out of saliva. So thank you very much.
Can you tell me the status of Planet Tulsa and what's going on with that, and if we're still planning to implement that, and is it indeed the approved master plan of the city of Tulsa?
Yes, we still are very supportive of it. It's still moving on. One of the big movements that we had was Planet Tulsa called for a planning director, and that was accomplished. Don Warwick is doing an outstanding job. She's in the process of redefining her department. We're looking at a better way to accomplish the Planet Tulsa needs. Planet Tulsa is our city master plan, and it does give a lot of opportunity for variation, which I think is a very important component of it. So we're in the process of implementing it. We're also in the process of doing another component, which is to redefine our zoning code, which is antiquated at best. So we hired a consultant to accomplish that for us. That's taking time. They're in the process of doing it, but it's going to still take a little bit of time. And depending upon where that ends up is a lot of that's going to have a lot of influence over where Planet Tulsa finally ends up and how we get that put together. But Planet Tulsa is our master plan, and we are certainly not ignoring it at all. We're doing it very methodically, very straightforwardly, but we're wanting to implement it in a way that does not have an unfair imposition to those that are affected. We want to make certain that we are open, transparent, that we realize that there's a lot of people with significant investments involved, and we have to listen to them very, very closely. And whatever decisions we do make, we want to make sure that they're done with a minimal impact upon their lives, but also the lives of those that want to invest money in our community. I'm giving you a long answer because it is deserving of a long answer. But it's a very big deal. But yes, we are implementing it absolutely. Yeah, Ziva.
You mentioned the words open and transparent, and one of the recommendations of the KPMG study was that the city have a central tracking system for open records requests. Can you tell me where that stands? You all said that you are doing that, but we've heard this for a while. I'm just wondering where that stands and what the specific plan is to do that.
We're still moving ahead with it. The lady who's responsible for it, Wendy, she was given the responsibility of implementing it. She's been accumulating information from all the different departments, a lot of communication with them to make certain that they all understand what's in place. Legal department gets very involved with it because we want to make certain that we're not overstepping our responsibilities, but also that we're not understepping our responsibilities. So it's a slow process. I know you have a big interest in it, but we do too. because we do want to be open and transparent. That's why that we've received an A+ rating, and I forgot the name of the rating entity, but we've, for 3 years in a row, I think it's the Sunshine something.
Measures how much you have on your website.
Yes. And I think it's 3 years in a row we've reached that A or A+ rating. Previously it had been a little bit less than that. So at least from their perspective, and I think from what I understand, it's a well-known rating institution, but we've done a pretty good job at it. But we are continuing to move towards that goal. And I know it might be a little slow for some, but we want to make sure we do it right. That's the most important thing. We don't want to do something that's incorrect, improper, and it really does miss the desire, which is to give information to the public, either through or certainly with the assistance of the media, but also to the individual that's requesting the information.
Can you tell me what the timetable is? When will this central tracking system be finished?
I don't know, and I'm not trying to duck the question. I just don't know. It's soon. You know, what soon, how I define that, I don't know. I don't know the answer. We're moving towards it. I know that whenever I ask how we're doing on it, whenever I ask Wendy or David O'Meara or the people in his office, said we're doing fine. They've had some certainly some discussion about certain positions. They have to understand them better. You know, they being everybody that's in part of this thing, but they're getting there. They are. Hi, Susan.
Could you explain a little bit about the recently announced hiring freeze at City Hall? What was the reason for that, and how long do you think that might last?
The reason for the hiring freeze, we've had, unfortunately, in the last 3 months, we've had 2 sales tax checks that have been down from what we were anticipating. Not significantly down, but down enough to where it caught our attention. What we don't want to do is ignore them. What we don't want to do is to hope that the next 2 or 3 months are going to be better and we recover. Because if they don't turn out that way, then we really have put ourselves in a bind. So we decided to react quickly. We're in the process of putting out our new budget for our proposed budget for next year. And we thought it would be prudent for us at this time to enact a hiring freeze. We were afraid that if we did not do that, that people might continue to hire people that we really can't afford, especially if we continue to have a decrease in our revenue stream. What was interesting about it was it's not just Tulsa that was having this problem. It was a statewide situation, and most cities around the state also had declines. Oklahoma City had one even worse than ours, and ours wasn't terribly bad, but theirs was about twice as bad, I think, percentage-wise. It will be in place, I would assume, at least through our current fiscal year until we get our budget approved, and we'll see how the sales tax receipts are for the next couple of months. And if it looks like this is just a short-term blip, then we'll continue on, and if it looks like it's on an upward slope, which we hope it will be, then we'll release the hiring freeze. It is was put in, I think it was enacted about 2 or 3 weeks ago, if I remember correctly. And if anybody wants to have an exception for that, they have to get not just my approval, but also the Erica's approval as well, Erica Felix Warwick's. Okay, so it'll be a while at least. Any other questions? Well, thank you very much for being here, and I didn't mean to talk so long. I hope it made sense. So, thank you very much.